Central Oregon, home to some of the most beautiful scenery in the Pacific Northwest. Today, it is home to the top climbers in the country as they look to get one step closer to a spot on the U.S. national team. Sam McQueen comes into the semifinal round as the top qualifier for the men, and on the women's side, nobody was more impressive than that young lady, Ashima Shirishi, who dominated the 5 problems that she saw in qualifying. It's day number 2 of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships from the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center. Thanks for being with us here today, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with former U.S. national team member Megan Martin. It's the semifinal round. We do have the finals later on this evening, but the semifinal is usually the toughest test that these climbers will face.
Exactly. In a 3-round competition like this, usually the semifinal boulders are the hardest you're going to see in the competition because it's vital to make sure that the right people make it into the 6-person final. So you'll see a lot of falls, lots of fighting, maybe some frustration. It'll be a really exciting show. Yesterday
in qualifying, the climbers faced 5 problems. Today, it's just 4.
Yes, today you have 4 boulder problems and you have 5 minutes on each boulder problem. Just like yesterday, the climbers have not seen any of these problems. They are in isolation right now. They can't watch anybody, they can't talk to anybody, so they have to figure out everything on their own. And their goal is the same. They're trying to get as high as they can on the problem so they can get the most points and hopefully advance to the 6-person final.
Let's start on the men's side where Zach Galla comes in with momentum. 2 weeks ago, he won the combined invitational in Salt Lake City.
Zach Galla is in a great position right now. Having won the combined, he is already on the overall national team, but he's showing no signs of slowing down. He was able to top 4 boulder problems yesterday, and he flashed 2 of them, which means he got them on his first try. So I'm sure he's looking to get into that 6-person final and have a good semifinal today.
Nathaniel Coleman, another man to watch here in the semifinal round, just fractions of a point behind Galla in qualifying.
Basically, the only thing that separated Zach Galla and Nathaniel Coleman is a fall. Nathaniel also topped 4 climbs, and he only had 1 flash, which is where the separation comes into play. He is the 2-time national champion. He's won the last 2 years, so he's definitely looking for a spot in the final so he can make it number 3.
Yesterday, we had 76 men in the qualifying round. Today in the semifinals, just 20, the top 6 moving on to the final round that will be contested later on this evening. And the top climbers in qualifying will be the last on the wall, Sam McQueen. The top qualifier after the first round yesterday will be on the wall in 20th. On the women's side, the most impressive performance we saw from anyone came courtesy of this woman, Ashima Shirishi, 124.3 points out of a possible 125.
Ashima Shirishi had a nearly perfect round. She climbed so well. She was able to top all 5 of the women's problems, and she was actually able to flash 3 of them. She has been on the podium the last 2 Open Nationals, and I'm sure she's looking for another spot there. She was able to showcase all of her creativity and flexibility and just have an all-around amazing climbing day yesterday.
You cannot talk bouldering without talking about this woman, Alex Puccio.
Alex Puccio is the 11-time bouldering national champion. Yesterday wasn't her best round, but I've seen her in many different qualification rounds where she doesn't necessarily have the most stellar performance, but she knows how to turn it on when she needs to. So I'm looking for her to find some redemption today in the semifinal and hopefully make it into the 6-person final.
53 women started this competition. We are now down to the top 25, the top 6, moving on to the final round later this evening, and Ashima Shirishi will go on the wall last. She will be in 26. Margot Hayes was second in qualifying. She will be 25th. We have fewer problems today, just 4 that the climbers will face, but the scoring still remains the same.
Yes, the scoring is the same. We're going with the zone scoring where they have the 5, 10, 15, 25 zones. The 5, 10, 15 zones require you to have 1 hand on in order to get those points, but then for the 25 zone, which would give you the top on the problem, you need to make sure you have 2 hands to show control in order to get that top, which is what everyone's trying to do.
And for the second straight round, and you mentioned this earlier, the athletes have not seen any of these problems. That is Anthony Lessick, who is first out for the men. The first look he will get at his first problem is when he actually gets up from that chair and turns around. You have been in this position when you get your first look at the problem, what are the first things that you're trying to figure out?
The first thing you want to focus on is looking at the zones. They can kind of guide you to the way in which you should do the problem. Also, if you're later in the round, you want to make sure you're brushing. The first people don't need to worry about brushing as much, but with the 5 minutes, you have more time to kind of plan your sequence on the boulder problem. But like I said, this round is the harder round, so you also need to make sure you have enough time to really figure things out.
And they do get more time than they did yesterday, 5 minutes as opposed to 4 minutes, and that is Emily Hurdick, who is first out for the women.
Y'all stay with them. I'm gonna turn this music up a little bit. We're gonna have a good time. Thank you so much for being here.
She is already on to the 5-point zone and the 10, and then she needs to make her way to the right to get to 15.
That's really the first crux right there, getting to 15, so that's the most difficult part, the first most difficult part of the boulder. They have a coordination jump, and the men, it starts off right away. See, they only have a 10 zone here. Because this boulder problem is a bit shorter, they decided not to put the 5 on because the move is really after sticking that jump.
Anthony Lessick got into the semifinal round courtesy of a tie break. Emily Hurdick is going for her second attempt now. You get points based on how high you get on the problem, and you will get penalized 1/10 of a point for every restart you have getting to the highest point on the wall.
She's setting up for the jump again. Gonna try to bypass it. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out for her there. She is one of the taller climbers, so a lot of girls probably won't even be able to try and static this move, but it is an intended jump, and it's not the easiest jump. It's pretty tricky, but there are a lot of good jumpers out here.
Anthony Lessick fails to get a hold on that 10-point zone. Both climbers struggling with that first dynamic move.
Anthony Lessick was definitely closer that time. He had the right idea to kind of try and go with a double clutch where he brings the other hand in to the 10 as he sticks that first hold with his right hand. It's a little more secure.
Why don't you juice them up a little bit? Let them know what you're thinking of right now. And give them love.
Lessick has a hold of the 10.
Really nicely done there.
Give them a little love, things happen. Come on, Anthony.
Now a tricky little technical, a stick for Emily Hurdick there, one-handed.
So both climbers figuring out the movement that they needed to figure out. Lessick gets to the top. He tops problem number 1 for the men, and Emily Hurdick is on her way to possibly topping women's problem number 1.
So what's really difficult about this section of the climb is the foothold she's standing on is extremely slippery, and then the top of that hold is slippery, but looks like she's gonna get a top here.
Emily Hurdick will top women's problem number 1. First climbers are through. Plenty of more action to come here in the semifinal round at the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships. The 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championship is brought to you by The North Face, inspiring and enabling exploration since 1966. A look at Smith Rock here in Central Oregon, one of the most famous landmarks in the climbing world, considered by many to be the birthplace of the sport of climbing. First 2 climbers are through in the opening minutes of this semi-final round. Madison Fisher is up next for the women out of Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, just 17 years old. Her wingspan, that +2 number, means her wingspan is 2 inches longer than her height.
It's definitely a good height there for a climber and a good wingspan. I mean, she's at 5'8" wingspan. That's so nice.
On the men's side, that's Alex Fritz out of Redmond, Washington.
Alex is getting ready for this jump, double clutch move, lots of coordination. Also, the hold he's jumping to is blind. He cannot see it from there, so he has to aim and hopefully end up in the good part of the hold, which he actually was not able to on that attempt.
Fritz can't make his first jump, and now here's Madison Fisher trying to get to that 15-point zone, and so far, only seen 2 climbers attack this problem, but the crux has been the same for the climbers so far.
Yes, both men's number 1 and women's number 1 kind of has a coordination move right off the bat. See if Alex Fritz can figure it out this time.
This is Fritz's second attempt and still can't get a hold of that.
It was a little closer that time. It's kind of hard to line it up when you're around the corner, so it's nice if he can figure out a way to kind of pinpoint it a bit better.
Fritz on attempt number 3. Remember, you get penalized a 1/10 of a point for every additional attempt it takes you to get to the highest point on the wall. And now on his 3rd attempt, he has a hold of that 10-point zone and easily works his way over to the 15.
Now he's in this nice drop knee. You see his left leg is dropped, so he can wedge himself between those 2 volume holds, those 2 big geometric shapes that the other holds are bolted onto. He's going to try to go for that 25, comes up a little short.
Still plenty of time for Fritz. Meanwhile, on the other side, Madison Fisher on women's problem number 1, still trying to get herself over to the 15-point zone.
Some kind of difficult power crimp moves at the beginning, requiring a lot of finger strength. Hits the jump this time. Now has to get through this slippery section.
25 points is all that remains for Madison Fisher.
The volume that her right leg is on right now, that whole side is slippery where her thumb is. So she has to maneuver her way, and then the top thing she just grabbed is also slippery, that top volume. So she's trying to find the right balance point in order to get 2 hands on there to try and set up to go to the 25.
Alex Fritz trying to set himself up again for a run at the 25-point zone and can't find the handle on that. Madison Fisher has to hop off as well.
Definitely plenty of time left for both these athletes to hopefully get to the 25. Alex Fritz taking a few seconds to brush so that he has the right amount of friction to be able to stay on. With the 5-minute clock, you definitely feel a little more relaxed after the frantic 4-minute clock. You have more time to kind of rest, brush, and assess.
Madison Fisher is going to take her points and take the extra rest. So she will not top women's problem 1. We saw Emily Hurdick, she's on the right. Pardon me, Emily
1 minute remaining.
Hurdick is on the left. That was Lisa Chulich, who's getting ready for her first attempt. But Emily Hurdick did top problem number 1 for the women. And Alex Fritz is running out of time to get himself up to the 25-point zone.
I think it's really smart that Alex is still trying, because after he heard the cheers, he knows that Anthony Lessig topped, and especially in the semifinal round, since the boulders are generally harder, if you hear a top, you kind of know that you need to top that one as well. See if he can set up better this time.
Fritz eyeing that 25-point zone and just cannot get himself up there.
Little foot slip.
And with 17 seconds remaining in his 5-minute window, likely that he will not advance any farther on that problem, so he will take a seat and start getting ready for problem number 2. Lisa Chulich in the white top is on problem number 1 for the women, and Emily Hurdick on the left of your screen will move on to problem number 2. Hurdick topped problem number 1 on her 4th attempt.
Lisa Chulich competed at the combined invitational and actually had to sit out after the first day of competition due to a knee injury. I know she's not fully recovered, so it'll be interesting to see what she does here.
This is Simon Bankert, 28-year-old out of Ojai, California, and a much longer wingspan than his height.
Which definitely helped him there a bit. He was able to get a pretty good grip on that blue hold in order to try and jump to the 10 zone. Good first attempt.
Emily Hurdick in the black top, she's on women's problem 2, looking for her 2nd straight top as she's trying to get to that 15-point zone, has her left hand on it, and now it's up to 25.
It's really interesting. That foot cut there is actually really aggressive. You kind of find yourself fully off balance, as we just saw Emily struggle to hang on there.
Chulich, meanwhile, has her left hand on that 10-point zone. And then this has been the biggest problem so far on this boulder for the two climbers that we saw prior to her, getting across to that 15-point zone.
She definitely is a more static climber, so not as comfortable jumping, but I really think the only way to do this move will be to jump. So we'll see if she can figure it out. One hand, but no control there.
Simon Bankert on men's problem 1 is
really smart. Oof. Oh, good save. Definitely realizing that every try counts here. Simon Bankert is being very smart by trying not to waste his attempt and just make it to that 25.
So Alex Fritz struggle here, and same story for Simon Bankert, just can't quite make that jump.
I think Anthony Lessick is a bit taller than them, and he had no problem with the jump.
Anthony Lessick was able to top problem number 1. He is right now on men's problem 2 as we take a look at Lisa Chulich on the right of your screen and Emily Hurdick now on women's 2. 2 of 4 problems that she will face in the semifinal round, and the women get 5 minutes to face each one. She made it to the top in problem number 1 on her 3rd attempt, getting penalized 0.2 of a point for the additional attempts for a score of 24.8.
Really good toe hook and heel hook there, looking to get a top.
Hurdick so close to 25.
One hand needs 2.
Right hand, left hand, and that'll count. So Emily Hurdick 2 straight tops to start off the semifinal round, and 2 minutes of additional rest now for her. Simon Bankert, meanwhile, getting hung up on that transition from the 15 to the 25. There's Lisa Chulich on women's 1.
Trying to figure out how she can get through that jump this time. Keeps looking at it before she gets on.
Chulich at the 10-point zone and trying to complete that jump over to 15. Had both hands on, but just can't control it.
Really close that time. I always think 2 hands are better than 1, generally, so I think that's the right way to try it.
Anthony Lessick, men's problem 2. He topped problem 1 on his 4th attempt. 24.7 points so far, and he is off the wall.
Just not able to find the right body position to come into that 15 zone hold. It is a really bad hold, so he really needs to make sure he has the exact right body position.
Bankert is almost able to save that one. Final 30 seconds approaching for both Lisa Chulich on women's 1 and Simon Bankert on men's 1. They are on opposite ends of the competition floor here.
Lisa Chulich getting ready to set up for the jump here. She really needs to get to the 15. Having just the 10 on this will not bode well for her. There she goes.
10 seconds.
Chulich has the 15. You saw Anthony Lessick hop off of men's 2, and he's going to call it.
Struggling here. No, she was running out of time.
But Chulich does herself a favor by getting to that 15-point zone. We'll be back with more from the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center after this. Back inside the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center as the semifinal round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships continues. Moments ago is a look at Stefan Fellner on men's 1.
He was really able to climb this very smart. He got in all the right body positions, got his heel in that little hole on the dual text hold, and was able to easily get to the 25. Really great way to start the round for Stefan Fellner.
Stefan Fellner with a top on problem number 1, and then plenty of rest as he now gets set for problem number 2. That's Isabel Gifford on women's 1. Next to her is Madison Fisher. She's taking on women's 2.
Isabel Gifford's having a little bit of trouble here, trying to get control of the 10. The first couple moves are pretty difficult. The crimps are pretty small. and there's a lot of body tension involved, a little bit of power movement before you even get set up for that jump. That is the first crux of this boulder problem.
The top qualifiers for both the men and the women go last here in the semifinal round. So the women and men that we're watching now were the lowest qualifiers coming into this round. So very important for them to score points, especially early, because they know the best climbers have yet to take the floor.
Exactly. Currently, Emily Hurdick is in a really good position, having 2 tops already, because we are going to see a lot of the better climbers come out later. Madison Fisher getting back to where we saw her a few minutes ago on the 10 zone.
Fisher able to get to the 15-point zone on problem number 1, and did that on her 2nd attempt.
Keeps flying out there. The body tension definitely needs to keep her feet on a little more there, because the swing is kind of aggressive and the left hand is not as good as you want it to be, since it's another dual text hold with the other side being slippery.
This is Alex Fritz on men's problem 2. He also got to the 15-point zone on his 3rd attempt on problem 1 for a score of 14.8.
Really cool movement here. There's a couple ways to do it. Alex decided to go with the feet first way, what we call a bat hang, in order to get up onto this volume. He was able to reach the 15 last attempt. See if he can get there again. He would really be in a good spot if he could get a top here.
Come on, baby, take us home.
Final 30 seconds for Alex Fritz.
Really nice stick there. Lots of fight from Alex Fritz, trying to keep all the tension on these small crimps. Ugh.
And Fritz won't be able to make it. So 15-point zone as high as he is going to get for the 2nd straight time.
10 seconds.
And he will rest up for problem number 3, as he is now halfway through this semifinal round. 4 problems facing the climbers in this semifinal round. The top 6 will advance to the finals. For the women, Arabella Jeriel getting set for women's 1, and for the men, Charles Barron will step on the floor as Simon Bankert sizes up men's number 2. Anthony Lessick is on the right of your screen. He's on men's problem 3.
There's a lot of accuracy that's necessary on men's number 3. As you see, his fingers are in those little holes, which we call pockets. And the 10 zone is pretty high up on the boulder problem. He's making good progress here. Looks like he may be able to get a flash, though this last move is to a pocket.
Right
Nice
hand
flash.
is there for Lessick. Left hand is there, and that is huge. So a flash for Anthony Lessick. 25 points for him as he gets all the way to the top on his 1st attempt. Emily Hurdick, meanwhile, on women's 3, trying to get to that 5-point zone that is just above her left hand.
Really tricky volume holds. Those big boxes are really confusing to maneuver around. She was in a good position. She just had to flip her right hand on that number 5 zone in order to be set up to go to the number 10 zone.
That's Charles Barron on men's 1, and he is through to the 10-point zone. And this
Really?
is where we have seen a couple climbers get hung up, as on the right of your screen, Lisa Chulich is on women's 2.
Really nicely done, that first move by Charles Barron. He's a seasoned competitor. He's competed in a lot of World Cups, done really well at Bouldering Nationals. Just setting up here to go for that 25. Just needs 2 hands.
His left hand is there, now the right hand, so a top for Charles Barron. Great start for him. We've seen 2 men top here, Lessick on men's 3, and now Charles Barron on 2, and
Nice top by Arabella Jeriel.
great start for her on problem 1. Lisa Chulich and Emily Hurdick are both still on the wall. That is Emily Hurdick on women's 3. She's your early leader, having topped the first 2 problems.
This is definitely the trickiest, as I was saying before, of the boulder problems. It's just not very obvious how you're supposed to get to each zone. She has her left hand here on the 5, but really she needs her right hand in order to be set up nicely to get to the 10 zone. Trying to use her toes to keep her sucked in.
Simon Bankert on men's 2.
Using different beta or a different way to do that beginning part than Alex Fritz. He kind of campused instead of using the double toe hooks upside down. Campusing being climbing without your feet, just using all upper body. Sometimes it can help.
14.9 for Simon on problem number 1. And Lisa Chulich is off the wall on women's 2. Emily Hurdick still sizing up problem number 3. We're approaching the final minute of this 5-minute window. 4 problems, 5 minutes each for the climbers. And they get a 5-minute rest period between each problem.
You see the climbers taking a lot more time as they're resting because they can with the 5 minutes, and it's just a little less stressful.
Bankert starts another ascent of men's 2. Now to the 10-point zone, trying to work his way across to 15.
Definitely needs his right hand on the 15 in order to progress past the 15. But if his left hand is there, he still would get the points.
Emily Hurdick still on women's 3, trying to figure out that 5-point zone. Lisa Chulich closest to the camera. She is on women's 2. Inside 30 seconds to go.
What's crazy about those square volumes is the minute your feet cut, you really can't hold on anymore. So you're just trying to squeeze and stay on it as long as you can with all 4 points.
And both Chulich and Hurdick are going to call it and start their 5-minute rest period. Benjamin Hanna comes to the floor, and he's going to the brush on the far side. He's first. He's on men's 1 for the men.
Already starting to see a lot more brushing as more and more competitors come out.
There is Benjamin Hanna. Like you said, going to the brush out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, just 19 years old.
He's usually pretty good at this kind of dynamic coordination climbing, so I feel like he'll probably like this boulder problem, especially for the first one. Obviously, if you can do well on the first problem, it definitely changes your mindset going into the rest of the round. It's really hard to come off a bad first problem. Possible, but just more difficult.
Micaiah Sanders is on the right of your screen in the blue top. She is on women's 1. Isabel Gifford is next to her in the white. She is on problem 2, and it's Madison Fisher in the red pants on the far left on problem 3 for the women, as more climbers now get out to the wall.
Both Micaiah and Isabel kind of flying off on the 15 zones on problem 1 and 2. Lots of body control necessary for both of those moves. Madison Fisher just trying to figure out her way. She set up really nicely to get that right hand there. We saw Emily Hurdick have her right hand, but it was the wrong direction. So Madison now has the 10 and is set up really nicely to get into the 15.
Stefan Fellner on the left of your screen on men's 2. Fell during that transition.
She needs to get her right foot where her left foot is, which she's doing now. It's a big cross to this 15 and then kind of a wild cut. That feels a little bit scary. Oop, not gonna make it into the 15.
Fisher can't control on 15. Moments ago, Benjamin Hanna got himself to the top of men's problem 1.
Definitely no surprise here. This is definitely an area where Ben Hanna excels. Really good coordination, lots of power. He's been doing really well this year in a lot of the National Cup competitions. Just choosing all the right foot placements and just easily getting to the top of this boulder. Great way to start the round for for Benjamin Hanna.
Benjamin Hanna has earned himself some additional rest. And again, when you're done, you have to take a seat with your back to the wall. They cannot use that extra time to study the next problem.
Exactly, but that rest time is so crucial, especially when the round is harder and when tops really, really count. I mean, going down from 20 to 6 is a big jump. So every point counts.
Isabel Gifford just off the wall on women's 2. And now back to Stefan Fellner, who's on men's 2. And that's a look at Nakaya Sanders from Corona del Mar, California. One of the younger competitors in the field, just 15 years old.
This is the first year Nakaya has been old enough to compete in the open competitions, and she's done a lot of the National Cup Series. She's been a very successful youth competitor over the last few years. She is a little smaller, so a jump like this will be more difficult for her, but I definitely think she has the skill set to actually latch it.
Stefan Fellner on men's 2 through the 5-point zone, and now trying to work his way up to that 10-point zone and then over to 15.
Good flexibility there from Stefan Fellner. Gets the 10. Just needs to find the right body position to get into the 15. Lots of tension necessary. You see his left foot shaking a bit because he's squeezing everything. Oh, interesting, trying to go with the left hand. I think the right hand is the intended sequence.
The left hand slipped off, and now Fellner just about a minute to go on that problem. We're back to Madison Fisher in the red pants and Isabel Gifford in the white on the right of your screen. Gifford's on 2, Fisher's on 3. Just 4 problems in this semifinal round.
Madison Fisher currently has the high point on women's number 3, getting to the 10 last time, but not able to get to the 15, but it looks like she struggled to even get back up there.
Gifford, meanwhile, at the 10 on problem 2, and has her left hand on 15, but just can't keep the grip, and that's Alex Fritz on the left of your screen. He's on men's problem 3.
Getting really close to the top here. This move is definitely dependent on your dead pointing skills, which is your aim into the pocket, and he's able to do it with one hand, but he needs 2.
Fritz will match, and he will top problem 3 just inside the 5-minute time cap.
Really good place for Alex Fritz to be in to get a top in this round.
We'll be back with more from the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center. The 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships continues here at the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center. Sean Woodland alongside former USA National Team member Megan Martin, and for the first time in the competition, we have 8 climbers on the floor as Anthony Lessig just tops men number 4. Third top of the semifinal round.
It's looking like the men's round actually, you might end up needing 4 tops or 3 tops, which isn't exactly what the route setters probably want. They generally would want maybe 2 to 3 tops to get into the final, but maybe they underestimated the field a bit. We'll have to just wait it out and see.
Lisa Chulich is in the white at the top of your screen. She is on women's 3. Next to her in the pink top is Arabella Jeriel. She's on women's 2. And you just saw Sarah Kate Ashton. She's looking at women's problem 1.
Lisa Chulich would really need to do well on the next 2 boulders, the one she's on and the one after that, because she does not have a top yet, and it's looking like at least 1 top is necessary to even stay in the running, and possibly 2 to 3 tops.
Sarah Kate Ashton,
trying
number
static.
25 out of Dallas, Texas. Slips off as she was working her way to that 15-point zone. Now Lisa Chulich has a solid hold on 5, trying to get it. Her left hand is already on that 10-point zone just around the corner. Now she's trying to work her way towards 15.
The setup to get into the 15 is kind of weird. It's an aggressive cross with your right hand, and then you kind of have to jump into the other side of the great volume. She's using her knees to get her foot up. She needs to get her right foot where her left foot is. Just taking her time to rest there. Really using every possible way to rest.
Just removed her right hand and now onto the 15.
This just might be hard to get out of, but definitely possible. She needs to get her right hand on the 15. Now she's gonna have to jump out. A little awkward there, but getting the 15 is now the high point, so that'll be a good go at it for Lisa Chulich on number 3.
It's Charles Barron on men's 2.
Using that feet first toe hook beta that we've seen a couple other competitors use.
Barron was able to flash problem 1, got to the top on his very first attempt. Looking for his second straight top on the second of 4 problems. And on the right of your screen, that was Emily Herdick coming off on women's 4.
Oh, Charles Barron hitting the volume where the 15 was, but not actually on the 15 zone hold, so he will not get the points there on that attempt.
10 seconds.
Give it up for that competitive spirit and another great round.
That round is done, and the climbers just on the wall will get their 5-minute rest period as 8 more climbers now
Climbers, you may begin climbing now.
back on the problems. Benjamin Hanna going to the brush. Benjamin is on problem number 2 for the men. Next to him in the gray top is Stefan Fellner. And then on the women's side, it's Katie Malinowski on the right of your screen, getting to the wall for the first time. Nicholas Milburn getting set for his first run at Signal Mountain, Tennessee, 23 years old.
Nicholas Milburn's another competitor who I think will do really well on this boulder problem. Pretty good at coordination, and he's a pretty good height. He's not one, he's kind of in the middle in terms of height in the men's field. Madison Fisher trying to get to the number 5 zone here. Oof, just falling short of it.
Fisher is on her 4th and final problem of the semifinal round. Remember, the top 6 in the standings move on to the finals later on this evening.
Nicholas taking a dynamic approach to the start of the boulder problem. Some people have pressed up. He decided to kind of do a little bit of a run and jump, kind of a hybrid run and jump there. Going for that, oof, just missing the pocket there. Should probably take another look to line it up a bit better.
Katie Malinowski, 18 years old, out of Simi Valley, California. Still trying to work her way up women's 1.
The first couple moves on women's 1 is they're pretty aggressive right off the start. A lot of body tension necessary to get from the 5 to the 10. We've seen a few women struggle here. And then, of course, the coordination jump is where it really starts to get difficult. Isabel Gifford kind of not figuring out exactly how to get around that box volume.
That's Alex Fritz on his 4th and final problem. Fritz was able to top problem 3, trying to keep that momentum here. Problem 4, and then on the right of your screen is Madison Fisher. She is on women's problem 4 as well. Has yet to top any of the boulders.
Alex Fritz needs to find the right body position here. It's a very delicate match on that 25 hold. He's just feeling around to find a comfortable spot to let go with his left hand and bring it in. Just moving his foot up a little bit. Sometimes it's just the most subtle movements in order to find the right position to make something possible. Doesn't want to take a chance. Just trying to get comfortable. Good thing he brought his chalk bag.
Remember, on that final 25-point zone, you have to have control with both hands.
The foot that Alex Fritz's left foot is on is a dual text hold, so there's a lot of slippery parts to the hold and just a little bit of friction on there, so he's never really in the most comfortable position to bring that left hand up.
Fritz couldn't find the hold to get himself to the top of problem 4, and that's Isabel Gifford on women's 3, which has really proven to be one of the tougher challenges so far.
It's definitely very tricky because it's just not a very obvious boulder problem. There's multiple ways you could get around, and we'll probably see a lot of women do something different.
Benjamin Hanna is on the left. He's on men's 2. Stefan Fellner on the right. He's on problem 3.
Men's number 3 has been topped a few times, and I'm sure Stefan Fellner knows that from the cheers. Katie Malinowski setting up for the jump, able to latch that 15 zone. Here comes the slippery technical part of the boulder problem. We've seen a few tops on this boulder.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So definitely a possibility to get it done here.
Malinowski solidly on that 15-point zone. All that's left is that 25-point zone at the top of your screen.
Definitely wary of the slippery texture that's surrounding her on these holds. As you can see, her fingers are slipping up there because that top part where the cymbal is very slippery. So you have to make sure your body's in the right position in order to get 2 hands there to then get to the finish. She toe hooks down on the volume, which is definitely the best way to get in the right body position. Running out of time here. Oh, unfortunate slip there.
Malinowski just not going to be able to make it. Gave it all she had, and neither is Isabel Gifford on women's 3. Meanwhile, final seconds for Alex Fritz, and he figures it out and gets the top of men's 4, and that is huge for Fritz. So he closes out his semifinal round with back-to-back tops. We'll have more from the semifinal round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships after this. Semifinal round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships rolling on is Lauren Bear from Flower Mound, Texas on women's 1.
Just trying to figure out how she can get in the right body position here so she doesn't slip off on those slippery dual textured holds. Just needs to find the toe hook underneath to really sink down and feel more comfortable to come in with her left hand there.
Right before break, we watched Katie Malinowski get hung up right here, and Lauren Bear trying to finish the job and get to that 25-point zone, and she is off the wall. The top 6 competitors, as we look at Joe Diaz from Granite Bay, California, just outside of Sacramento, 22 years old, sizing up problem number 1. The top 6 competitors for the men and the women move on to the final round. And the top climbers in qualifying are the last to go.
Plenty of time here for Joe Diaz to possibly top this boulder. Pretty good at the coordination movement, so he definitely has a shot of getting this one done. Choosing to just do the one hand and not the double clutch. What's really cool about this boulder problem is there are quite a few different ways to stick the jump and then to finish off the boulder problem. Trying to set up for the jump to the 25. Narrow, like comes up a little too short.
At his left hand there, needs to get both hands on that 25-point zone in order to get credit for it. That's Arabella Jeriel. She's on women's 3. She's in the pink top. Sarah Kate Ashton is on the bottom right of your screen. She is on women's problem 2.
Arabella trying to figure out the right body positions and how to get her hands in the right spots to continue on this volume. Perfect placement for the 5. Coming up short on the 10 though. She's so close to it, but not actually on it. Keeps slipping off of it. There she goes.
Left hand solidly on the 10 for Jeriel. Meanwhile, Joe Diaz trying to get himself to the top of men's 1, going to the brush quickly as we are now inside a minute to go in this 5-minute window.
She definitely has enough time to possibly top this boulder, but she's going to need to move quickly, and she hasn't been here yet on this boulder, so she's trying to make sure she does the right thing to get to the 15. Trying to find her way on the 15 now.
Diaz is onto the 15 and now eyeballing the 25 as he looks to make that jump. Jeriel is off and Diaz just cannot reach it, and he's going to hop right back on.
That's what's kind of cool about these shorter boulder problems when you have 20 seconds. It's only a couple moves, so you know if you go fast enough, you definitely have the possibility of finishing the boulder, as you see here with Joe Diaz.
10 seconds.
Lining up for maybe one last jump here.
She's gonna have to go.
Still needs to get to 25. 4 seconds to go and won't be able to reach it. Good effort from Joe Diaz. And he will rest up for men's 2. Chloe Koskoy, number 10. She's in the bottom right of your screen. Next woman onto the floor as she will start her semifinal round on women's 1. Katie Malinowski is next to her, Nakaya Sanders, and then Isabella Gifford on women's 4. For the men, Matty Hong coming out on men's 1. Nicholas Milburn, number 112, left of your screen on men's 2. Benjamin Hanna and Stephen Fellner on the floor. Chloe Koskoy out of El Cerrito, California.
Chloe's another one of our taller competitors. I'm thinking the jump shouldn't give her too much of an issue here. Has to get there first, of course.
No
Going
problem
through
getting to
these
the 5.
power moves. Maddie Hong has to set up for the jump here.
One of the older competitors in the field, 27 years old, from Boulder, Colorado. He's back up on men's 1.
It's really cool to see Maddie Hong out here. He hasn't done competitions in a few years, so he's been focusing more on outdoor climbing.
That's Katie Malinowski. She's on women's problem 2.
Working her way, trying to get her feet set up to get to that 10 zone.
Only one woman has topped this problem so far, and that was Emily Herdick. She was the first woman on the floor.
Katie has to get her heel in here in order to get both hands or match on the 10 zone. And then to set up for the 15, you really need to keep your feet on to get to the 15 so you don't swing off, because it's not a very good hold.
Left hand is there, but cannot control it, so Malinowski will have to make another run. Moments ago on the men's side, that man, Maddie Hong, got to the top of men's 1.
Really nice movement here through that coordination section by Maddie Hong. He is one of the taller competitors, so getting to the 25 shouldn't be as bad for him, and it definitely wasn't too much of a problem. He was actually able to keep his foot on when he got his one hand up there and then brought his second one up to match.
Great start for Maddie Hong, and an additional time to rest before he will tackle men's problem 2. Chloe Koskoy on women's 1 has worked her way across to the 15 and now trying to get to that final 25-point zone.
Able to find the body position there, just needs to get her hands up on the 25.
Right is there, left is there to match, and that'll count for Chloe Koskoy. Benjamin Hanna going to the brush on men's 3. Hanna was able to top problem 1 and then 10 points on problem 2. And then now on the right of your screen, that's Isabel Gifford. She is on women's 4.
Just
Gifford
slipping
has
off.
yet to top a problem.
It's really important on that slab climb to find the exact body position to get into the 10. We haven't seen anyone get into the 10 yet. They can get really close, but they haven't been able to actually control that 10 zone on women's number 4 yet.
Nicholas Milburn coming off the wall on men's 2. Milburn is now on the left of your screen. In the middle is Benjamin Hanna, and then on the right on men's 4 is Stefan Fellner.
Seen men's 4 topped a few times, so it's definitely possible, and I'm sure a lot of these men know that just from the cheers from the crowd. Just trying to make his way into the 15 here, having to move very delicately, as this part of the problem is very balancy, focusing on your footwork and body position here.
Stefan Fellner is on the left, and it's Katie Malinowski on women's 2 on the right.
Katie's trying to figure out how she can keep her feet on and get to the 15. Unfortunately, she's going to fly off.
Closer than she was last time, but still just can't hang on, as Fellner is inching his way closer to the top. And now a slip.
Not able to get to the 15 there, all over that volume, but the 15 is the higher hold on the volume, which unfortunately he wasn't able to get to that attempt.
Fellner got off to a great start, flashing problem 1, getting all the way to the top on his first attempt, and then just getting to the 10-point zones on problems 2 and 3. Love to close things out with a top here on his 4th and final problem in the semifinal round.
10 seconds.
Not sure he's going to have time to top this, but if he can get the 15, that'll definitely help us score, but
Fellner won't be able to make it. Semifinal round rolls on, and we'll have more from the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center when we return. Day 2 of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships continues with the semifinal round as we look to find the top 6 athletes who will move on to the finals later on this evening. 8 total climbers on the wall, as both the men and the women going at the same time, and that is Carlo Traversi on men's 1, one of the older competitors in the field. He's 30 years old, which is basically considered ancient in this sport, out of Santa Rosa, California. Started rock climbing at the age of 14 in 2002, and the local gym there in his hometown, Vertex Climbing Center, was basically his second home. Traversy trying to figure out men's 1. That is Sarah Kate Ashton on women's 3. She has yet to top any of the problems so far and is coming off a disappointing 4.6 points on women's problem number 2. She needs to find a way to get herself to the top of these final 2 problems if she wants a chance of moving on to the finals. On the left of your screen for the men, that's Joe Diaz on men's 2. Diaz with 14.9 points in his opening problem, as he's unable to get to the top of men's 1 and now slipping off the 15-point zone on men's 2. Back to Sarah Kate Ashton on women's 3. And this has been the part where the climbers have gotten hung up, that transition from the 10-point zone to the 15-point zone. Look at what Sarah Kate Ashton has done so far in the semifinal round. Yesterday there were 5 problems in the qualifying round. Today, just 4, but the climbers have 5 minutes in which to tackle them. Sarah Kate Ashton off the wall on women's 3. We approach the 1-minute mark here. On men's 3, that man, Sean Rabitou, just got to the top.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Really nicely done there by Sean Rabitou, getting into those pockets with nice precision, and a top here for him is definitely crucial.
Rabitou will take a seat and he will rest up for the final problem. As Sarah Kate Ashton still working on women's 3.
Trying to figure out this tricky cube volume section. Definitely different ways to do it. You see a lot of girls women using their feet, and then sometimes just campusing without their feet. Definitely been able to do it both ways.
Won't be able to complete it. Carlo Traversy, saw him on problem 1 earlier, and he was able to get to the top.
Carlo Traversy is a veteran in this competition, been on the U.S. national team many times, was in finals last year, definitely looking to get back in there this year. Really nice jump from Carlo Traversy to top number 1.
Traversy gets his 5-minute rest period before moving on to men's number 2. Starting off very well here in the semifinal round as we look to find the top 6 athletes who will be moving on to the finals. That will take place later on this evening here at the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center in Redmond, Oregon. Sean Bailey taking to the floor for the first time. Out of San Diego, California, just 22 years old.
He was on the podium at the Combined Invitational, actually placed 2nd at the Vail World Cup for bouldering this past year. Very talented climber and boulderer. Basically talented all-around climber. Taking a few moments to decide what he wants to do on this climb. No stranger to coordination movement, so he should be able to figure it out pretty quickly. Since a lot of men are topping, it seems like attempts are going to be a crucial part of getting into the final.
Sean Bailey is on the left. He's on men's problem 1. Matty Hong is on the right. He is on men's problem number 2, and he was able to get to the top of problem number 1 on just his 2nd attempt, looking to follow that effort up here with another top on problem 2.
Matty Hong's in a very nice position. Just needs to keep the tension, really squeezing with that left leg, trying to get his right foot on the 10, set up really nicely if he can pull himself up to the 25. Almost has one hand.
Just not a solid enough grip for Matty Hong. Meanwhile, Sean Bailey is reaching for all he's worth for that 25, and he will get to the top. So Sean Bailey flashing problem 1 for a perfect score of 25 points.
Great way to start out the round for Sean Bailey after a pretty disappointing qualification round yesterday. Didn't really look like himself. So it's really nice to see him off to a great start right off the bat.
Michaela Kirsch on women's 1 going to the brush next to her. Chloe Koskoy, she's in the pink. Katie Malinowski in the blue and green top is on women's 3, and at the far end is Nikaya Sanders. She's on women's 4.
Chloe fighting to get to that 15 zone. Really trying to use her body position. Michaela Kirsch taking another look at women's 1, trying to figure out exactly how to do this jump.
And at 5'1", one of the shorter athletes in the field here.
Definitely one of the shorter athletes, but a very experienced athlete, so experience definitely goes a long way. Chloe Koskoi using the ret over there, using every inch of her reach here to try and get her way up. Now she is taller, so actually getting the foot up here is a little more difficult for her. Michaela sticking the jump.
Koskoi is off of problem 2. She was able to top problem 1 on her 3rd attempt for a score of 24.8. Now Michaela Kirsch eyeing the 25-point zone on problem 1.
Just trying to find that right body position here to get to the 25.
Right hand is there, and now the left hand, and a top for Michaela Kirsch on women's 1.
Really good position here for Michaela Kirsch. Looking like a top on the first problem will put you in a great position to possibly be in the running to get into the final tonight.
Over on the men's side, Maddie Hong is in the dark blue. He was next to Nicholas Milburn, and now Katie Malinowski on women's 3.
Katie taking her time there, trying to make sure she executes every movement on this block volume. Figuring out the right hands and feet to get into the right position. Good position for her right hand, now needs to get her left hand to the 10.
Malinowski with a solid hold there, but now we are inside a minute, looking to work her way across to that 15-point zone.
Possibly has enough time to top. If she doesn't top, at least getting to the 15 will be helpful.
Just 34.5 points after the first 2 problems.
Not really in the right position. Gonna have to go to the judges on that, on whether they give it to her. Chloe Koskoi just slipping off on that slippery part of the dual text hold, unfortunately trying to top women's number 2.
Koskoi is gonna call it on that as Maddie Hong on men's 2.
Maddie Hong has been the closest on this boulder problem. It would be really cool to see him top it and put him in a really good position, since this is the boulder we haven't seen topped yet today. Kind of running out of time, and you really have to move delicately through here. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen right now.
No good for Maddie Hong on men's 2. We'll be back with more from the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center after this. The 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championship is brought to you by The North Face, inspiring and enabling exploration since 1966. Look at some of the beautiful scenery here in Central Oregon, just outside of Redmond, where we are at the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center as the semifinal round continues, looking for the top 6 athletes who will be moving on to the finals. That's Carlo Traversi on the left and Joe Diaz on the right.
Carlo's off to a really good start with a top on men's number 1. Got to the 10 on his previous attempt on this boulder number 2, which we have yet to see topped. Joe Diaz working his way through one of the boulders that has been topped quite a few times.
While we were away, Sean Rabitou was on men's problem 4, and the reason he's taking a break is because he earned it. Got to the top of men's 4 on the right of your screen.
Really delicate movements here. Sean Rabitou was able to get in that really nice stem, which set him up in a perfect position to get 2 hands on the finish and get the top.
Sean Rabitou closing things out with a top on the final problem here in the semifinal round for the men. His 2nd straight top, as he was able to get to the top of problem 3 on just his 2nd attempt, as Carlo Traversi hops off of men's 2.
Carlo just missing the body tension position there to get in the right position to go to the 15.
That is Catherine Lamb on women's 1.
Trying to do this move that we've seen done many times as a jump static here. Almost able to do it.
You have 1 minute
Has enough
remaining.
time to at least get back up there and hopefully try to get to the 15. One of the boulders that a lot of women are topping, so it would be really good for her if she can top it too.
And a wingspan that is 3 inches shorter than her height, out of Stanford, California.
Sarah Kate
Ashton on women's 4.
Able to get the 10, which we haven't seen happen yet, moving very slowly. Oh, almost saved that bobble.
Nice burn.
Sarah Kate Ashton is off and may have time for another run. She has yet to top any of the problems here in the semifinal round. Her best score coming on problem 3 at 14.8.
I don't think she has enough time to top. Oh, she slipped anyway.
Lauren Bear in the purple was off of women's 3 in the final seconds of this 5-minute window.
Already seeing a lot of blood. Katie Malinowski's bleeding from her shin as she gets ready to get on her 4th boulder.
Next 5-minute window is underway. Michaela Kirsch moves on to women's 2. And on the men's side, that is Drew Ruana out of Redmond, Washington, 19 years old.
Drew Ruana is a local here. Also did well at the Combined Invitational a few weeks ago. Had a pretty good day yesterday. Was in the finals at Bouldering Nationals last year and on the podium, so he's looking to get back into the final today.
You mentioned that he's a local. His dad used to take him to Smith Rock, really close to where we are here in Redmond, Washington. He was basically an infant, a toddler, and he said climbing just clicked, and here he is.
Really nice execution on the jump and setting himself up nicely to go to the 25. He's definitely on the shorter side, so he's really gonna have to jump, as we've seen some of the other shorter competitors do, but he made it work, so
and
strong.
Drew Ruana will flash problem number 1, a perfect score of 25 points, and does it in just more than a minute. Meanwhile, Sean Bailey is on men's 2 after a perfect score of 25, flashing the first problem. Looking to duplicate that effort on problem 2 and making some solid progress as he gets closer to the 15-point zone.
Has to delicately move here. Though those footholds are big, they are slippery. There's a lot of tension. As you can see, his shoulders are spread out really wide and he's shaking a bit, just trying to find that right position in order to get to the 15. Kind of went to it a little too fast there. Gonna have to make some adjustments on his next attempt.
Plenty of time for Sean Bailey. Solid opening effort for him as he looks to solve problem 2 for the men. Quinn Mason was trying to get a read on women's problem number 1. Katie Malinowski's on the left of your screen. She's on women's 4, and Chloe Koskoy's next to her. She's in the pink. She's on women's problem 3.
Chloe trying to figure out how she can get her foot up there on that small foothold, set up nicely to get into this next volume and get into the 15. This is where the big release is. We haven't seen anyone stick the release to the other side. Nicely done by Chloe Koskoy. Set up nicely to try and get to this difficult press move to get into the 25 zone, which would be the top of the boulder. Nice knee bar there. She's actually crossing her legs to get a knee bar. Good place to rest.
We have yet to see a woman top problem number 3, and Koskoy's going to have to do it on her next attempt.
Unfortunately, that volume is a bit slippery, so she might want to throw her chalk bag on up there so she can take a moment to chalk up so she doesn't slide off like she just did.
And that has been the biggest challenge. We just saw it for the women, that transition from 10 to 15 is Sean Bailey trying to make another run at men's problem number 2. Quinn Mason is close to topping women's problem 1.
In that delicate technical position here. Really nice foot placement with her left foot, using the arete here to try and get to the 25, one hand.
And that's a top for Quinn Mason. Now Sean Bailey on men's 2.
Took a long rest there because this is probably one of the more taxing boulder problems in this round for the men. It was a really smart move for him to do because he needs every ounce of energy he can get to set up nicely for the 25. Oh!
Closer than last time, but just can't get the grip with his right hand.
I was a little shocked there. I thought he might actually stick it. He's gonna take a seat, actually.
So he is done. So Sean Bailey deciding to rest an additional minute. One more look at his last attempt here to get to that 15.
He was able to go a little slower and he almost held the swing, but then his left hand actually popped off, making him helicopter down, unfortunately.
Sean Bailey will Take a break. Remember, a perfect score on problem one, so still in good shape with 2 problems remaining in this semifinal round. Top 6 athletes after this round move on to the finals, as Katie Malinowski is on her 4th and final problem. Malinowski still looking for her first top of this round.
Definitely be helpful for Katie to get a top here, or at least to the 10, because not as many people are getting to the 10. We've only seen one other person get there. She has enough time to possibly make it there, but it is a very delicate, slow movement that needs to happen, and she just kind of rushed it.
Got her right hand on the 10, but more athletes to come. Our top qualifiers have yet to get to the wall. That's coming up. Second of 2 days of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships. We are in the semi-final round. Sienna Kopf from Golden, Colorado. She is on the right of your screen trying to top women's problem one.
Trying to figure out how she can get to that 25. She's really close. Oh, went with her left hand.
Left and right, and that'll be a top for Sienna Kopf. Over on the men's side, Clay Gordon almost had the 25-point zone. Over on the women's side, Catherine Lamb on the left of your screen, getting to the top of women's 2.
Really good top for her to get, because she was only able to get to the 10 on the first boulder problem, so a top here is pretty crucial for her. Able to use her toes to hook the side of the arete and get the one hand on the 25 and then 2 hands.
Catherine Lamb taking a break. Next to her is Quinn Mason.
Taya Wolf is in a really good position here.
She's on the right of your screen. On the left is Joe Diaz. He is on men's problem 4. Wolf on the right is on women's 3, and working through that really tricky portion of this problem.
Taya Wolf was able to make that release on the left side of the volume a little easier than we saw Chloe Koskoy earlier. She kept her body on a little bit better, so it wasn't so aggressive. Joe Diaz trying to figure out how to get his body perfectly placed to feel comfortable enough to go to the 25. Looks like he almost found the position. Oof.
Diaz is off. Clay Gordon, meanwhile, has top problem 1.
He missed the finish 2 times prior, but was able to figure it out this time and get to the top, which is definitely a necessary thing to do, I think, to stay in the game for the men here. Nice big swing, 2 hands on top. Really great finish there for Clay Gordon.
Clay Gordon earns himself some additional rest. Nathaniel Coleman is on the left of your screen, getting ready to start his semifinal round, as the top qualifiers from yesterday are now starting to hit the wall. John Brock is on the left, and then on the right is Lauren Bear. She's on women's 4.
John Brock kind of struggling to get up on this volume. As one of the taller competitors, it's so cool to see how flexible he actually is, which if you are on that taller end, it's really necessary, because sometimes the way the boulder problems are set up, it can be a little bit bunchy for you.
Brock is off on men's 2, and Lauren Bear
10 seconds.
hopping off of women's 4, and her semifinal round is done, as Bear fails to top any of the 4 problems in the semifinal round.
Climbers may begin climbing now.
All the women with brushes in their hands currently, because they really need to make sure that they have the right amount of friction on the holds as we get further and further into the semifinal round.
Nathaniel Coleman getting a read on men's problem number 1.
As long as he can get into that pocket jug for the first move on his first try, I do believe we could see a flash here for Nathaniel Coleman. This is a style of climbing that he's very good at. Really good.
Ruana was on the right, just left the left your view, he flashed number 1 as well.
Definitely good at the gymnastic movements. Nathaniel Coleman has a lot of experience with those kind of moves and really just can excel at them effortlessly. Oof.
Coleman is off.
Kind of had to readjust in the pocket, didn't aim quite as well as he could have. I'm sure he'll fix that on his second attempt.
Drew Ruana is back on the wall. Look at your top 7 right now. Remember, the top 6 move on to the semifinals. So Simon Bankert right now sitting in that 6th and final spot with 64.5 points.
I think we'll see this board change a bit going through here. Nathaniel Coleman deciding to go the double clutch route this time, which was more successful.
The second attempt for Nathaniel Coleman is he has already wrapped up that 15-point zone, and all that's left is that 25.
This move shouldn't give him too much trouble. Just needs to make sure he aims. Oof.
Left hand is off, so Coleman still with 3 minutes to go.
Definitely a lot of time. He's struggling on this a bit more than I assumed he would, but it's all about the aim. A lot of the holds are a bit blind.
Coleman getting another read on the boulder. So on women's number 3, that's Michaela Kirsch. And this is the farthest that we have seen a climber get, and she is off.
That was a lot of try hard from Michaela Kirsch. Drew Ruana.
He will top for the 2nd straight time.
That's going to help Drew Ruana so much, being the only man so far to top boulder 2. Since we know the rest of the boulders are doable, there's the likely chance that he will be doing them too. And he might have just secured himself a spot for the final tonight.
Huge effort from Drew Ruana right there. 2 problems remaining for him though, as Nathaniel Coleman continues to work on men's problem 1. Now all that's left is once again just trying to get to that 25-point zone. Right hand is there for Coleman, left hand is there, and Nathaniel Coleman gets to the top of men's problem 1.
Earlier in his attempts, he wasn't really using his right foot to jump to the 25. He just had his left foot in. I think he decided to fix that mistake, and it definitely was the best way to get to the top of that boulder for him.
Chloe Koskoy is on women's problem 4. Look at your top 6 so far. Lisa Chulik clinging to that 6th and final position, but we still have our top climbers from qualifying yesterday to go. And Michaela Kirsch is only 2 rounds in, so she is setting herself up nicely as far as possibly taking over that top spot is concerned. And Kirsch is on women's problem 3 and got the farthest that we have seen a climber get on this problem, has yet to be topped by anybody.
Definitely in a really good position, and if she can get back to where she was before, she did use a lot of energy to get there, but she definitely has enough time to finish. She just needs to make sure as she's pressing, hopefully she's chalked up enough to not slip, because that volume is grippy but also slippery when you are palming it, as she was when she needed to press. So hopefully she can figure it out. She's a shorter climber, so that swing is pretty big for her. Almost in the right position, inching her way.
10 seconds.
Gonna have to move pretty quick here. Fighting.
Kirsch with 3 seconds to go, not going to get to the top, but still gets the farthest that we have seen of any climber so far. And she will rest up for the 4th and final problem.
Having 2 tops already, getting to that 15 on number 3, since it hasn't been topped yet, will definitely help her. And she has another shot when it comes to problem number 4.
There is Zach Galla going to the brush on problem number 1, getting his route set. Just 18 years old, and once again won the combined invitational event that took place 2 weeks ago in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Even though he's only 5'7", so on the shorter side for the men's field, he's still extremely powerful.
Kyra Condi is on women's problem 1. This is your women's combined invitational champion.
Slipping there, but trying to save it. Her right foot is kind of too far. She needs to get her toe actually on that. She's trying to leg wrap instead. Kind of frantically running through. If she can get her toe up, there she goes. Now she's in a better position to hopefully top this.
And this is the reckless abandon style that we saw and that she is known for, just attacking that problem. Had her right hand on the 25-point zone and she is off.
Definitely a little example of the reckless abandon style. Almost still working though.
Zach Galla can't get to the top of problem 1 as he looked to make that transition from the 15 to the 10-point zone. Plenty of time left for Galla.
It is a pretty big jump for him, so he has to be extremely precise, especially because that 25 hold is a bit blind on top of that volume.
This is John Brock on men's 3. Brock was able to top problem number 1, then just 10 points on problem 2, looking to beat that here in problem 3.
Unfortunate foot slip there for John Brock.
Back to Galla. He's trying to get to that 25-point zone on problem 1.
Just gonna need to jump a little bit higher to get above that hold a little more. Oof,
left hand just could not secure the grip. Back to Kyra Condi. He's still working on women's problem 1.
She's in a better position with her feet this time. There she gets the toe hook. She should easily get there.
Right and left, and we have a top for Kyra Condi.
Definitely necessary for her to get that top. She missed out on the final last year by 1 spot, and she then was able to have a really good World Cup season and make the 2 World Cup finals, but I know she wants to be in the final here tonight, so we're gonna see a lot of fight from Kyra Condi.
There's Clay Gordon. He's on men's 2, and now back to Zach Galla on men's 1. This is his 3rd attempt to get to 25 and still just can't secure that hold, now inside of 2 minutes. Sienna Kopp on women's problem 2.
Really good job of controlling the swing there. Gets the heel up, setting up nicely to get to the 25. She needs to get her toe on. Really good flexibility. Has to get to the little hold on top in order to control in that 25. Unfortunately, a slip there.
Close for Kopp, but just can't complete the ascent as Galla back up on men's 1.
Really needs to get a big jump in here. There he goes.
The left hand is there, right hand, and Zach Galla conquers problem number 1. More from the semifinal round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Opening National Championships when we return. Back at the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center in Redmond, Oregon, as the semifinal round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships continues, and Drew Ruana on men's number 3 will top that. So he is tearing through this semifinal round.
Drew Ruana just became one of 3 people with 3 tops and still the 4th to go. So he is set up really nicely right now, and he's topped everything really quickly, so he's gotten a lot more rest as well.
It's Matt Foltz on men's 1. Meanwhile, Sean Bailey was just able to top men's 4.
Really good for Sean to be able to get another top, because it's looking like you need at least 3 to even be considered to make the final. So we'll have to see how the rest of it plays out, but hopefully that 3rd top will help Sean Bailey.
Foltz back for his 2nd attempt on men's 1. Top 6 athletes moving on to the final round later on this evening. Foltz not able to save that.
Really, really close to saving though. Would have been so impressive.
Bimini Horseman is on women's 1. She had a great qualifying round, nearly able to top all 5 of the problems that she faced.
Really good qualification round for her, for sure. Just trying to figure out this delicate section. Going a little more dynamically than we've seen most of the women go. They usually mash by putting both of their hands on that 2nd to last hold.
The 19-year-old out of Davidson, North Carolina, wingspan equal to her height. Back to Foltz on one.
Matt using a heel hook here instead of a jump, which might be possible. Maybe better though to jump, and I think he thinks so too.
Nice job by Foltz, able to hang on there.
Knows that every try counts here. Just trying to aim for that one hand.
Left hand, right hand for the match, and a top for Matt Foltz on men's problem one.
Quinn Mason struggling to get up. We saw Michaela Kircher earlier. So much fight going on right now. You're basically wrestling through these volumes the whole time. She's almost there. She's pressed it out mostly. She's in a really good position to be able to get her foot up and maybe put one hand on and hopefully two.
No woman has topped problem three, and Quinn Mason really struggling to stay up there. But this is the farthest now that we have seen a woman get. Has her right hand on the 25 zone. She's got to get her left hand there to match. And may not get credit for that. Just wasn't there long enough for control, but so close for Quinn Mason. Nathaniel Coleman on men's two, meanwhile, gets to the top. So Coleman with 2 straight tops to start his semifinal round with 2 problems remaining.
Nathaniel putting himself in a really good position. Since now we've seen every boulder topped, the more the men can top, the better off they are.
One more look at the fight that Quinn Mason just put up on women's problem 3.
Really, really good fight from Quinn Mason. She's one of our younger competitors, just now starting to do the open competition. She was able to get her one hand on there, just fighting every slip she had, gets her body in the right position, gets the other hand on, but then just can't control it, and unfortunately does not get the top.
Quinn Mason getting the farthest of any climber so far on women's problem 3. That's Megan Lynch on women's 2.
A little stretched out there, realizes that she can use the arete, trying to inch her way up to set up.
Michaela Kirsch is on women's 4.
This is a very delicate climb, probably the most technical climb in the round for the women. Lots of balance and body positioning involved. Unfortunately, not enough time there from Michaela Kirsch.
We won't get to the top, but the good news for Michaela Kirsch is right now she is in first place overall, and that was even before you added in her score for that problem.
She's definitely set up nicely to have a shot. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out.
Top climbers from yesterday's qualifying round now for both the men and the women starting to get to the wall. Bimini Horseman was able to get to the top of problem number 1 in the blue top.
She took a while to find that right body position, but then she was finally able to find it, get the one hand on the 25, and then nicely with the 2 hands for the top.
Kyra Condi back on the wall as she starts her ascent up women's problem 2.
This is definitely a problem that'll suit Kyra Condi a bit better. A lot of power. Kind of underestimated the swing there. Definitely needs to keep her feet on in order to stay more in control.
Dylan Barks is on men's problem 1. He's your number 2 qualifier.
Comes up a little short there. Plenty of time though.
Finished just behind Sam McQueen in the standings yesterday after the qualifying round. And over on the women's side, Sierra Blair Coyle on women's 1.
Sierra had a really good qualifying round yesterday. Had a really good World Cup season this past year. Missed the finals last year at Bouldering Nationals by a couple spots. Unfortunate slip there. Plenty of time, but what we're seeing from the women is that every try is really going to count here.
To women's problem 3, the toughest challenge so far, and it's Sienna Kopf who will try to conquer this.
Sienna just trying to figure out how she can get into that volume to get to the 15. Unfortunately, not able to do so, but plenty of time.
Zach Galla on men's 2, getting to the top.
In a nice place now. He's 2 for 2, which we're starting to see a trend with the men topping both number 1 and 2. And we know that 3 and 4 are possible, so I think we're going to see quite a few tops here.
Kyra Condi on women's 2 will get to the top.
Really good position there for Kyra Condi, because right now on the leaderboard, you have women up there with 2 tops, and so only at the beginning of her round, and she already has 2 tops. She set up nicely to hopefully have a shot at the final later.
2 for 2 for Kyra Condi as Sierra Blair Coyle getting closer to topping problem 1.
Just needs to figure out how to get her left foot in a secure spot to where she can put both hands on that hold. Goes for 2 to the 25, not what we've seen yet, but a good effort there by Sierra Blair Coyle.
That's Clay Gordon, who just topped men's 3.
Really good climbing here from Clay Gordon. Nice heel hook to give him more control to get into that pocket. He accidentally grabbed the far side of the hold first, realizing it wasn't very good, and was able to match and get his 2nd top of the round.
Back to women's 3. Sienna Kopp still trying to work her way around the 5 and 10 point zones and over to the 15.
She definitely has plenty of time to get at least into the 15. And what's cool about those block volumes is you can find a lot of rest, so you can kind of just wait there and try and figure out what you're going to do. Sienna using her heels to get her right hand in the correct spot on the 5. Got to get into the 10, using a lot of flexibility there. She's one of the taller competitors, but has a lot of flexibility, which is helpful. Using a toe hook, trying to reach over.
Kopp has the 15-point zone, and
very good save there on the release. I don't think she really intended that. She kind of popped off, but good coordination there by Sienna Kopp. Has to figure out now how to get onto the other side of the volume so that she can swing her feet over and then get into that press.
Kopp was able to flash problem 1, getting to the top on just her first attempt, and then 14.9 on problem 2. And valiant effort for her on 3 as Sierra Blair Coyle still has yet to top problem 1.
Unfortunately, she wasn't able to find that secure foot, so she kind of had to keep trying to go dynamically, which we haven't seen done, and looks kind of like a little bit impossible to do that way. So hopefully she does better later in the round.
Final seconds ticking away in that 5-minute window. The next window begins, and now here's your top qualifier from yesterday, Sam McQueen, getting a read on men's problem 1.
Sam McQueen had a stellar performance yesterday. He's had a really amazing year, actually, as one of the younger competitors, just kind of stepping into the adult scene and doing well. So it's really cool to see that next generation of climbers kind of taking control of the competition scene. It's good timing with the Olympics coming up.
On the women's side, Quinn Mason was on the left of your screen. She had that great run on problem 3. She's now on problem 4. And for the men, that's Drew Ruana looking for yet another top.
Drew had a really good foot cut save there. Just trying to figure out how he can get in there. That stem is crucial.
And he will get it. And that's a flash for Drew Ruana, so he dominates in the semifinal round, flashing 3 of the 4 problems and getting to the top of every one.
Drew Ruana is our new leader, and it's a really good time to be that new leader as we're getting to the end of our men's field.
That's Brooke Rabitou. Saw her older brother Sean earlier. Nathaniel Coleman on men's 3. And he will top that. His 3rd top so far, with 1 problem remaining.
Starting to look like you're gonna need 4 tops for the men. So a lot of our later competitors are setting themselves up nicely, like Drew Ruana and Nathaniel Coleman. Drew having 4 tops, Nathaniel with 3 right now.
And Sam McQueen, no problem with the left hand. He matches with the right and a top to open things up for Sam McQueen. And
able to easily get it done there with plenty of time to spare. Bimini Horstman trying to get in a comfortable position. Oh, that foot cut, a little unfortunate there.
Matt Folt is on men's problem 2. Folt was able to top number 1 on his 3rd attempt.
If he wants to stay in the running, it looks like he's gonna need to top number 2, and he still has plenty of time.
That's Quinn Mason, who is on her 4th and final problem for the women.
Haven't seen a top here. It'd be really exciting.
Brooke Rabitou is on the right. She is on women's 1.
Trying to find that right. Oof, unfortunate slip there. Quinn playing around with the balance here. She's in a comfortable position right there on the arete that she's grabbing that corner of the wall, and she has a pretty good foot. And then there's a lot of commitment once you start trying to get into the 10, so she's just trying to like set herself up mentally to be able to commit and get to the 10 zone.
Quinn Mason coming in with 1 top on problem number 1. And got to the 15-point zones on 2 and 3, and now off the wall on her 4th and final problem.
She actually chose to go to the 15, bypassing the 10, but it did not work.
Bimini Horseman in the blue, she's on problem 2, and next to her is Megan Lynch in the red top. She's on women's 3.
Bimini got pretty high on this last time. Unfortunately, her feet cut again. It's really vital to keep your feet on for that women's number 2. Megan trying to maneuver her way through this block volume. Really good use of her feet.
No woman has topped problem 3 yet.
Trying to figure out how to get her left hand on. Oh, missing that corner ever so slightly.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Brooke Rabitou still trying to top women's problem 1.
Struggling to find that position on her last attempt. Hopefully she's able to get in that right position here to get to the 25. Unfortunately, coming up too short, not able to get her foot in the right position.
Back to Quinn Mason on women's problem 4.
Just trying to figure out exactly when to go. Trying to get a palm onto that white volume. Very nicely done. Now she can try and shimmy her feet over a little, or just reach from here, whatever feels more comfortable for her to get to the 10. Oh, gonna slip, unfortunately. Bimini has 1 hand, just less than 10 seconds, has to find the right position to get that 2nd hand on there, and she's fighting the clock as well. Able to do
Bimini
it.
Horseman beats the clock and will able to top women's 2 as Megan Lynch is done on problem 3. Every point's going to matter to get yourself into the finals. Hear more from the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center after this. Semi-final round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championship continues. Top 6 in the standings will move on to the finals, and we have a tie for the 6th and final spot. Catherine Lamb and Sienna Kopf trying to work their way into the finals as Sienna's helping her cause here.
Looking for that first top on women's number 4.
And she will make it. Sienna Kopf topping women's problem 4. And that will definitely help her cause. And now Alex Puccio is on women's problem 1, halfway through this 5-minute window.
These opening moves for Alex Puccio should not be difficult for her at all. Really good on steep climbing, very powerful. Coordination and jumping is not her favorite thing, but she should be able to make it happen. Looks like she might go for a static approach, which we've yet to see anyone be able to static. Oh, but maybe, oop.
And now a slip and she's off. So Puccio inside of 2 minutes to go. On the men's side, that's Clay Gordon on men's 4.
Unfortunate slip there for Clay Gordon. Looked like he just kind of was in the wrong body position. Really want to have your right foot on that small foothold underneath the 15 zone.
Back to Alex Puccio. Getting a read on women's 1. Dylan Barks is on problem 2. The standings right now, remember the top 6 going into the finals, and right now it's Alex Fritz hanging on to that 6th and final spot with 79.3 points.
Clay Gordon trying to find the right body positions here. to get into that 15 without losing his balance, as it's so easy to lose your balance on those terrible footholds.
Gordon has been able to top 2 of the 3 problems he
You
has
have
faced
1 minute
so
remaining.
far, and now slipping and coming off of problem 4.
That was an extremely close save there by Clay Gordon. Alex Puccio looking a little stumped by this boulder. Hasn't tried going dynamically for the jump here. Hopefully she'll get out of that thought process of the static way and try and go dynamically. Here she goes. Oh, left
Puccio
hand.
can't make it happen, so she is struggling here on her opening problem. Zach Galla has 1 problem left. He's on the right side on problem 3.
Really nice work here by Zach Galla, able to read this boulder problem really well. Nice power move, sticks it no problem on the 15. Gets a good heel here to then easily get into that pocket finish hold and get his 3rd top of the round.
Zach Galla is trying to duplicate the effort that was put forth by Drew Ruana, who was able to get to the top of all 4 of the problems.
Zach's definitely going to try to match what Drew Ruana did if he can.
The ladies, we've got Natalia Grossman.
Natalia Grossman has joined the fray now, as she will attack problem number 1 for the women. And next to her is Brooke Rabitou. She's on the left of your screen. Grossman out of Boulder, Colorado, with a wingspan that is 3 inches longer than her 5'4" height.
Getting ready to get up into this dynamic jump. Looking like she might try to go static. Able to get on the volume, but it would be really hard to get to the 15. She might change her mind and actually try to jump now. Trying to figure it out without falling on her first attempt. Almost saves it, but now she knows what to do.
Grossman is off on problem 1, and that sends us to Brooke Rabitou, who's on women's 2.
Making quick work of this boulder currently. Trying to figure out how she can get to the 15 without losing her feet. Nice double clutch to the arete. This looks like it might be a flash for Brooke Rabitou.
Rabitou
Good.
is eye level with 25, and she will top women's 2. Meanwhile, Matt Fultz on men's 3 gets to the top of that.
Definitely needed a top there.
And Nathaniel Coleman will top men's 4. So Coleman 4 for 4 in the semifinal round.
He looks very happy with that too.
We will most likely be seeing him later on this evening as one of the final 6. Back to Natalia Grossman on women's 1.
Able to figure out that jump. Now just needs to figure out this delicate technical movement to get to the 25.
Sam McQueen is on the left. Remember, he was the top man in the standings after the opening qualifying round yesterday.
Sam kind of struggling to figure out that middle section of men's number 2. We've seen it done a lot of different ways, so he just needs to find the way that works best for him.
Natalia Grossman now trying to work her way to that 25-point zone to top problem 1.
Just, there we go with Sam McQueen figuring out the beta or way that works best for him on this boulder problem to try to keep getting some more points here. Natalia Grossman really taking her time to try to find that right body position so she doesn't use another attempt. Unfortunate slip there.
Grossman is going to have to use another attempt. 2 minutes to go. Here is Sam McQueen. Works his way up men's problem 2.
Nice and in control here. This move to 15 seems to be the crux of the boulder problem. The first crux. Actually, the finish is pretty difficult too, as we've only seen a few people finish it. It's the right body position to get to the 15. Oof, unfortunate foot slip there.
McQueen is off. He was able to flash problem 1, a perfect score of 25. Bimini Horseman is off the wall on women's 3.
She definitely has time to try it again, although those moves are very taxing, so she's going to need to take a quick breather.
Natalia Grossman getting to work once again on women's 1.
She had an unfortunate slip at the end of this boulder on her previous attempt. needs to get back up there. It would be really good for her to be able to do this boulder problem. It's definitely in her wheelhouse. Just trying to find that comfortable body position on those very slippery volumes. Going with her
Grossman
right
had her
hand.
right hand on it, but just cannot secure the hold. Sam McQueen on the left of your screen after topping problem 1 is still working on problem 2.
That taxing campus match that Sam McQueen just did is really tiring, and hopefully he has enough energy to at least get to the 15 here. Definitely should try and top.
Natalia Grossman with what should be her final attempt on problem 1, and McQueen off the wall on 2. So after topping problem 1, Sam McQueen will not be able to reach the apex of the second boulder.
Just needs to drop her left foot down to get the right position. Ugh.
Grossman won't make it either. Who's going to the finals? Semifinal round continues when we return. While we were away, Dylan Barks able to get to the top of men's problem 3.
Really good climbing here from Dylan Barks. He had a few mishaps earlier in the round, but was able to continue his momentum from yesterday with another top here. Really good, powerful movement and control from Dylan Barks. Nice heel hook placement here in order to get to the finish hold with control, because it is a pocket where he had to put his fingers into it, and you have to be very precise, so the heel hook helps you get there in a more controlled manner.
And then over on the women's side, Alex Puccio topping problem 2.
Alex Puccio struggled on the first boulder problem, was not as much her style as this boulder problem is. Easily working her way up using the arete, gets that one hand on the 25, and then is able to get both.
Puccio topping problem 2, and Alex Johnson was just able to top problem number 1 as Puccio takes a break. She is halfway through her semifinal round. 4 total problems, 5 minutes each for the climbers. Zach Galla is on his 4th and final problem. Galla has been able to top all 3 so far, and he flashed the last 2, getting to the top of problems 2 and 3 on his very first attempt. That's Sierra Blair Coyle on the right of your screen. She's on women's 3, and Kyra Condi is on the left. She's on women's 4.
Sierra had an unfortunate go at women's number 1, but was able to top women's 2, so she just needs to work her way through women's 3.
Here are your top 6 right now, with John Brock and Anthony Lessig tied for 5th, but those are your top 6, so it will take more than 84 points right now to get yourself into the finals, as both Drew Ruana and Nathaniel Coleman are basically locked.
Unfortunate slip there from Zach Galla a second ago. He definitely has time to get up there, and he could really use another top to be in a comfortable position in hopes of making the final. Sierra figuring out her way through these cube volumes. Some more points here would be really good for her score. Not in the best position currently.
Yet to see a woman top this problem. Quinn Mason came the closest, but was just not able to control at the top of the 25-point zone. Sierra Blair Coyle is through the 15, and this now the tricky transition to the top.
She's in a good position, nicely walked her feet over. The press is pretty difficult, and the volume is a lot more slippery than you think it is. Using a little knee bar there, trying to turn herself into the volume. It's a lot of wrestling. Gets one hand, 2 hands.
And Sierra Blair Coyle will top women's 3, the first climber to do that. And that is huge for her, as she looks to be one of the top 6 women to move on to the finals. Zach Galla, meanwhile, on men's 4, looking to go 4 for 4, and he will do it.
Very nicely done by Zach Galla.
One more look at the effort from Sierra Blair Coyle, the first woman to top problem 3.
What it came down to was Sierra was able to get her hip lodged in there between the volumes to be in a comfortable position to match that finish hold and be the first woman to top women's number 3.
So after 15 points on problem 1, Sierra Blair Coyle tops 2 straight problems as Zach Galla will pack up and get set for what should be an appearance in the finals later on this evening as he goes 4 for 4, topping all the problems he faces in the semifinal round. Your top 6 for the women right now. Chloe Koskoy hanging on to that 6th and final spot with 59.7 points. Remember, the top women in these standings still have yet to go. So every point precious for these climbers as they look to get into the finals. Claire Burfind, the 20-year-old out of Plano, Texas, is on problem 1.
Setting up for the jump here. Oh, able to static it. She is one of the taller climbers in the competition. We have yet to see that move done in a static fashion. Quickly making her way through this women's number 1. Now at the technical slippery part of the boulder problem. Gets 1 hand and 2 hands on the finish.
Sam McQueen on the left of your screen topping men's 3, and Claire Burfine looks like she's gonna flash problem 1. Solid start for her. Brooke Rabitou is on women's 3, trying to duplicate the performance we just saw from Sierra Blair Coyle, who was the first woman to get to the top of this boulder.
Brooke nicely working her way through this boulder problem. Really good at this kind of climbing. Has a lot of natural endurance so she can stay on the wall for a while to try to figure things out. She's trying to figure out how to get in the best body position to get onto that next block volume.
Bimini Horseman is on the left of your screen. She is on the 4th and final problem.
We've only seen that 4th problem topped once as well, earlier by Sienna Kopf.
That's what Brooke has done so far in this competition. 15-point zone on problem 1.
Really good save there. She made that move a little harder than we've seen some of the other climbers. Sometimes in the moment you do something and it might not be the best way to do it, but if it works, that's all that matters. Trying to get up into this hard press, which only Sierra has done.
So Brooke Rabitou is close to becoming the 2nd woman to get to the top of problem 3.
Trying to find that right body position. We saw Sierra use her hip. Brooke is just pressing her way into it, trying to find the right. Oh, unfortunate slip there for Brooke Rabitou. Looked a little painful as well.
Won't be able to get there, but plenty of time for her if she wants to make another ascent here. She's going to take a quick breather, takes a seat, and tries to get a better read on women's problem 3. Sam McQueen, who is the top male qualifier. This is a look at how he was able to get to the top of problem 3.
Definitely needed to get a top here since he was not able to top men's number 2. Doesn't look like it's too difficult for him. Sets up to get a nice toe hook here in order to get into that 25-point zone hold and top hold with ease.
Sam McQueen has topped 2 of the 3 problems he has faced, and he flashed both of them, flashing 1 and 3 as Bimini Horseman trying to get to the top of women's problem 4.
1 minute remaining.
Since Sam did not top number 2 for the men, having flashed 1 and 3 will definitely help him if he's able to then do the 4th and final boulder as well. It may make it so he can stay in the running.
And we've seen 3 men sweep the field here as both Drew Ruana and Nathaniel Coleman are joined by Zach Galla as the 3 men who were successfully topping the 4 problems that they faced in the semifinal round. And back to the women's side where Natalia Grossman is on the right of your screen. She's on women's 2. Claire Burfine was able to top problem 1. Brooke Rabitou is on problem 3, and Bimini Horseman on the left side, closing out her semifinal round and now off the wall on problem 4.
Brooke Rabitou kind of running out of time here, unfortunately. Looking to try to get back into that press position to quickly finish the boulder.
Grossman, meanwhile, looking to beat the clock and just misses getting to that 25-point zone.
So unfortunate for Natalia Grossman, but very good effort.
Matt Foltz over on the men's side was able to flash problem 4, and that's huge because that gets him into the top 6 right now.
Definitely on the taller side of the male competitors, able to use the stem there, and then his hip flexibility to bring his right foot up and put him in a perfect position to match that 25 finish hold.
Current men's standings with only 2 men left to do problem 4. Matt Foltz is hanging on to that 6th and final spot, and then the 3 men who successfully topped all 4 problems sit at the top of the standings. That's Drew Ruana, Nathaniel Coleman, and Zach Galla. And that's Dylan Barks right now, who's on problem 4 for the men.
It's definitely going to be close here for the men for those last 3 spots, as the men who did all 4 are definitely way ahead.
Barks with 2 tops already. 15 points on problem 2. He's got to get to the top here to have a chance to get into the top 6 and move on to the finals.
He is in the right body position to get to the 25, and a flash here would be really big for him.
Barks is close. Left hand is there. He matches with the right, so Dylan Barks flashing problem 4 and possibly getting himself into the top 6.
I think will change his leaderboard quite a bit.
Alex Johnson working her way through this overhang climb, just trying to figure out how to get her feet to stay on the wall, because you can't afford to cut your feet on this angle on these holds. Really
Alex
nicely
Johnson
done.
On women's 2.
Needs to figure out what to do here. Going with a left heel hook, which we haven't seen done as much. Finding that arete, looking for a top here.
Alex Puccio's on the left, she's on women's 3. The left hand is there for Alex Johnson, as is the right, and she will top problem 2.
Alex Puccio working her way through these confusing cubes, trying to find the right position to get her way into position to get to that 25. Using everything in her body. She's using her hip right now to maneuver. Really strong on that release.
Puccio needs these points. She was unable to get to the top of problem 1. Only 1 woman has topped problem 3. That was Sierra Blair Coyle.
She really does need these points, and
Margot Hayes is on the right. She's on women's problem 1.
trying to find that delicate body position. Both Alex and Margot trying to find the body positions.
Margot Hayes will top problem 1, and that leaves Alex Puccio.
Really needs to get the top here to stay in the running for the final. Especially with the slab coming up for the last climb, not really her favorite style of climbing, so she knows she really needs a top here. Though the climbers haven't seen any of the climbs, this wall has been used multiple times, so you know if you start on the one side, you're gonna end on a slab.
Puccio is off. Sierra Blair Coyle, after topping problem 3, is now on women's 4. She is 5th place overall, even without the points for this current problem. So now looking for some insurance points to get herself into the finals later on this evening. But remember, some of the top girls still to come in this semifinal round, so every point is going to matter for her. She tries to solidify a spot in the top 6.
Just trying to find that right body position. Got to the 10 a second ago. Not 100% sure if they gave her control. They should have, in my opinion, but she was just unable to kind of get out of that position. Trying to move her feet without cutting too much. Oh, unfortunate slip there by Sierra Blair Coyle.
She is off the wall, and time is quickly slipping away for her. Quickly back on women's problem 4.
Slab is definitely one of her specialties. As you see her being able to move quickly through this bottom part, a lot of the women are not able to be as comfortable. Oh, unfortunate there for Sierra, but good effort.
Time runs out on Sierra Blair Coyle, the only woman to top problem 3, and now she will wait and see if it is enough to keep her in the top 6 and move her on to the final round.
Getting started from ladies, 1.
Sam McQueen is the last man on the wall, but unfortunately for him, he will not be able to catch Sean Bailey. The most that McQueen can get is 84.7, and that is assuming he flashes this final problem. The top 6 you're seeing on your screen will be the top 6 that we will be watching compete tonight in the finals.
It's definitely an unfortunate position to be in for Sam McQueen, though he doesn't know that he can't make the final. But still a good showing at this Nationals. To be in the top 10 is very difficult.
I mentioned that the top women were still yet to get on the wall, and that is the top woman out of qualifying, Ashima Shirishi, the only woman to top all 5 problems in the qualifying round. She is on women's 1.
Made it nicely through that jump section, which would be the only part of this boulder I would worry about for her. She's really good at finding the right body positions to be in on technical movements like this. She looks very comfortable here already. Just trying to figure out how she can get to the 25. Easily done here.
Shirishi picking up right where she left off. She flashes problem number 1, and she is perfect so far through 2 rounds. 3 problems remaining for her, though.
Natalia Grossman trying to work her way through these tricky volumes. Not quite finding the right positioning there.
Saw Claire Burfine taking a seat earlier. She just got to the top of problem 2. That's Natalia Grossman, or pardon me, Brooke Rabatou on problem 4. Natalia Grossman is right next to her on problem 3.
Brooke Rabatou got really close to topping women's number 3. Looks like she's gonna try to bypass the 10. Maybe she's changing her mind. I've only seen 1 top here. A top would be really good for her.
She needs these points right now. She's in 11th place overall.
Not really a good spot to be in, unfortunately. Ooh,
but she's
very cool movement there by Brooke Rabatou. See if she can get to the,
Gets to the 15.
Brooke Rabatou with the style points.
So Rabatou moving up the wall, and she's going to be moving up the standings.
Trying to hold on with everything she has. She knows that she needs these points. Oh, able to do it. One of the smaller competitors breaking the beta here. Just needs 2 hands on the 25.
Rabatou will do it, and that should put her in the top 6.
Really.
One more look at Brooke Rabatou and some impressive movement here on problem 4.
Extremely creative climbing here by Brooke Rabatou. Literally gets that 15 with 1 finger, just showing how strong she is.
Brooke Rabatou leaving the floor as Claire Burfine on the right, sitting next to Margot Hayes, as Burfine just topped problem 2. The 2 of them sharing some music, but Burfine doing a nice job getting herself to that 25-point zone.
Yes, Claire Burfine is 2 for 2 right now in this round, which is a really good place for her to be. Number 2 gave her no problems. A very easy top for her, but the 2 more difficult climbs are still to come.
Natalia Grossman still trying to figure out women's 3, and this has been the toughest challenge for all of the climbers. Just 1 woman getting to the top of that, and that was Sierra Blair Coyle.
You have 1 minute remaining.
1 minute left. It looks like Natalia Grossman is going to call it and take a seat and get set for her 4th and final problem. Semi-final round winding down here at the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships. Ashima Shirishi waiting for her turn on women's 2 after flashing problem 1, and she has topped every problem that she has faced in this competition so far. A perfect 5 for 5 in qualifying, and now 1 for 1 with 3 problems remaining in the semi-final round. Margot Hayes, meanwhile, getting a read on women's 2 as Alex Puccio is on problem 4.
Alex really needs a top if she's going to stay in the game, and I honestly am not sure if it will fully help, but any points are helping at this point.
Here are the women's standings with Bimini Horseman at 69.5 points, and she is already done. So Puccio would move into this group if she could get a top here.
It's definitely possible. Though this is not her favorite style of climbing, she has worked on it a lot in more recent years, so she should be able to figure out a way to do it really nicely, getting into that palm. Margot Hayes going for a top.
Margot Hayes will get it. She tops problem 2 as Puccio hops off on problem 4.
Alex moving a little too quickly into that number 10 zone.
That's Alex Johnson. She's on that really tricky part of problem 3.
Just trying to figure out the right body position here for her to get into the volume where the 15 zone is. Nice execution there. Really good save.
Just one woman topping problem 3. That was Sierra Blair Coyle earlier.
Just needs to set up to get her feet out to the last volume block over there. She's one of our taller competitors, so getting to the foot shouldn't be too hard. Now she just needs to figure out this tricky press.
It's been perfect so far, has Alex Johnson, after she flashed problems 1 and 2, getting to the top on her very first attempt on both boulders.
Nice knee bar there she used to get in the right position. Now she just needs to try this really difficult press. We saw Sierra Blair Coyle use her hip.
Alex Puccio on the left, who needs to top problem 4 to get herself into the top 6.
Alex has one hand on the finish. Needs to figure out how to get in the right position to stand up into that block. Really nice into the press here.
Alex Johnson could be the second woman to top problem 3. The left hand is there. She needs to match with her right. And she will do it. So Alex Johnson has topped all 3 problems she has faced so far, and just the second woman now to get to the top of problem 3. Back to Alex Puccio, who again needs to top this problem to get herself into the finals.
I think Alex Puccio knows that it is necessary for her to top to have a shot at getting into the final. Trying everything she can to get to that 10.
She's running out of time, and now it's going to take something special for her to get to the top of
Alex Johnson breathing heavily with a sigh of relief after topping 3 for 3 in a great position to hopefully be in the final later.
Talking things over with Claire Burfind is Alex Puccio with 30 seconds to go. Needs all the points that she can get here. Not looking like she's going to be able to top this problem and get herself into the final 6.
Really unfortunate round here for Alex Puccio. I can't remember the last time she wasn't even in a final, so let alone winning this competition. So
10 seconds.
Not counting her out, because she can do amazing things at the last minute. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen today.
Alex Puccio with a disappointing semifinal round, and doesn't look like she will be moving on to the finals later on this evening. The men are done. Only the women remain. That's Natalia Grossman going to the brush on problem 4. Claire Burfind is in the middle. She's in the all black, and Ashima Shirishi is on women's 2. She has topped every problem she has faced in this competition. 5 in the qualifying round and 1 so far here in the semifinals.
And looking at the semifinal round of boulder problems, I think they do play to Ashima Shirishi's strengths. She's a very technical climber, a very smart climber, really good with body tension, body movement, using her feet, and reading boulder problems. She also has a natural endurance to be able to take time while she stays on the boulder and figure out what she needs to do without wasting attempts.
They're here in the vendor village checking out. They've been demonstrating their stuff all weekend.
Shirishi getting to work here soon on women's 2. Flashed problem 1 for a perfect score of 25 points.
Easily getting over.
It's Natalia Grossman on the left. She's on women's 4. And Natalia Grossman has got to flash problem 4. So she can only take 1 attempt, and that would give her an outside chance.
Ashima
And she's
Shirishi
down.
comfortably making her way through women's 3. Just needs to make sure to keep her feet on here in order to control the swing. Oof.
Shirishi
Not for
flashed
her.
problem 1, and she can keep this up. She'll be flashing problem 2.
Looks really comfortable here.
Left
Showcasing
hand
that
is there,
flexibility.
right hand is there, and Ashima Shirishi stays perfect. 50 points out of a possible 50. And now Claire Burfind over on women's 3. We just saw Alex Johnson conquer that.
Another one of our taller climbers. Just taking a moment to breathe there, to get into this difficult press. Trying to find a little rest there with her knee. Needs to keep her feet out left. Was thinking about going out right, but in a good position to top this climb with a lot of time.
Top 6 right now is Sienna Kopp is your top athlete over Brooke Rabatou, and Michaela Kirsch right now hanging on to the 6th and final spot. But Ashima Shirishi is probably going to knock her out, because right now Shirishi has a perfect 50 out of 50 points so far on the first 2 problems, and so does Claire Burfind. The top 6 likely to change with the women still remaining on the floor, looking to get their way into the top 6.
Nice, Natalia.
Natalia Grossman will not be one of the women in the top 6. She's still trying to find a way to get to the top here of problem 4.
Still has plenty of time. You know, even if you don't make it into the top 6, every placement gets a point to accrue points over this season to make it onto the overall national team. So you need to fight for every point regardless, because this competition is only the second step to deciding who's on the overall national team. So these women need to continue to give it all they have out here. Claire Burfind, knowing she can get back to the last move of women's number 3, and she knows how taxing it was to get there the first time, so she needs to at least wait till she has a minute left to get back on the wall so that she has enough time to finish this boulder and stay in the running for the final.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Burfind with another attempt here on women's 3.
Working her way through these cube volumes. She did it the first time pretty easily. Because there are so many moves, you just hope that you remember what you did the first time, because sometimes it's hard to actually remember how you got to a certain spot on a boulder problem. Looks like she's doing a great job of remembering the way or the beta which she used to get through this boulder problem.
Final seconds of this 5-minute window as Claire Burfind trying to work her way around and maybe have a shot at getting to the 25-point zone, but right now it's just all about points. So Burfind is off. Semifinal round winding down, and Ashima Shirishi trying to stay perfect, as is Alex Johnson. More when we come back. Back for the closing moments of the semifinal round of the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championships in Redmond, Oregon. Margot Hayes is on women's 3, trying to become just the 3rd woman to get to the top of this boulder.
Nicely getting into the press here, looking super comfortable.
And she is making this look easy, and Margot Hayes getting to the top in the 25-point zone of problem 3. So now 3 women have completed that problem, and Ashima Shirishi will be the next woman to take it on. Looking like the chance that could become 4 women, as Alex Johnson has been perfect. 75 points out of a possible 75 so far, flashing all 3 problems on her first attempt, getting to the top on each one, and that will be the first time that she will have to restart on a problem.
Really close save there by Alex Johnson. She has plenty of time to figure out what to do here, putting her in a good position to possibly top this boulder.
She is solidly inside the top 6. She has 75 points without any points from that 4th and final problem. Back to Margot Hayes, who didn't look like she had any trouble here with this 3rd problem.
She got nicely into that press. That seems to be one of the more difficult moves on this boulder problem because it's so powerful also after all the wrestling through the beginning of the boulder problem, which is why we haven't seen as many tops, but Margot Hayes made it look easy.
Alex Johnson trying to go 4 for 4 and top all 4 boulders that she faces here in the semifinal round.
Alex Johnson was in a really good position on her last attempt. If she can get there again, I think she'll be able to figure out how to get control of that 10.
She has a chance to take the overall lead here.
Trying something different here than what she did the first time. Gonna go all the way for the 15 possibly.
75 out of the 75 possible points on those first 3 problems.
A little indecisive here on what she should do.
You have 1 minute remaining.
The pressure is really off of her, as again, she is in 3rd place overall. And that does not include the points that she's earning right now.
She's definitely in a pretty safe position here, but I know she would love to end this round with the top. It's a great way to make her nationals reappearance. Going for the 15 didn't really work. Great idea though. Gonna give it one more go. Always a good idea to try till the buzzer beeps, because when it's your last boulder, you gotta try your hardest.
Come on, Alex.
And when you have athletes like Ashima Shirishi and Margot Hayes coming up behind you, you definitely want to get some insurance points here.
10 seconds.
Ooh, little slip there. Gets into the 10.
And that should put her in the overall lead. Alex Johnson unable to top problem 4, but she will be in the finals.
That is enough.
She is one of the top 6 climbers moving on to this evening's competition.
Both Claire Burfine and Ashima Shirishi getting a good look at women's number 3 and women's number 4. Claire making sure she brushes those holds on women's number 4.
Ashima Shirishi is on women's 3. That has been the toughest challenge for the climbers so far. Just 3 women successfully getting to the top. 3 women remain here. Shirishi and Burfine are on the wall. Margot Hayes is resting.
Both women taking about a full minute to look at these boulder problems. From the roars of the crowd, they know that at this point every boulder has been topped by at least 1 woman, so they know it's possible, and they know that if they want to stay in the running, they need to do it.
Claire Burfine on women's 4, if she gets to the 10-point zone, she should put herself into the top 6.
Claire working her way through these delicate moves at the beginning of women's number 4 as Ashima Shirishi tries to make her way to the number 5 zone on this tricky cube volume. Claire really needs to get to the 10. She probably doesn't know where exactly she is, but she knows that getting to the 10 and the 15 would be really good for her score. She looks like she can almost, oof, little slip there.
Touched it, but I don't think she had control.
Definitely no control there.
Plenty of time to make another run. Ashima Shirishi, meanwhile, looking to flash yet another problem and now become the 4th woman to get to the top of women's 3.
Looking pretty comfortable here, as we saw Margot Hayes look really comfortable in this position. She's one of our smaller climbers, so getting in there might be difficult, but 1 hand and all she needs is 2.
Has her left hand there, the right hand is there as well, and Ashima Shirishi staying perfect so far in the semifinal round, and she has again topped every single problem that she has faced in this competition. 5 in qualifying and now 3 in the semifinal round, and that leaves Claire Burfine as the only woman on the wall. Needs to get to that 10-point zone to get herself possibly into the top 6 to move on to the final round this evening.
Claire has just under 2 minutes now to try and get there. was really close to the 10 last time. Kind of rushed it, so if she can find the right body position and she can get to the 10, she'll be set up nicely to hopefully make it into the final. Looks like she got the 10.
is there, and that will certainly help her cause. 15 would basically lock her in to the top 6, and she is there, and now looking to top problem 4.
Would only be our 3rd top of the competition.
Oh! Had her right hand, but then slipped. But the good news for Burfind is that 15 points that she just earned will get her into the top 6 and move her on to the finals.
She also does have enough time to get up there again. I'm sure she'll try again, just because it is the 4th boulder problem.
1 minute remaining.
And why not go out with a top?
What do you think, guys? Should player go out there one more time?
One more look at Burfind's last effort. Just looks like her foot just slipped.
Yeah, definitely a foot slip. She needed to have her right foot on top of that volume hold, but unfortunately, she kind of had it underneath. But maybe she'll be able to correct that mistake on this attempt.
Crowd getting behind her. She's the only athlete on the wall, so all eyes on Claire Burfind as she looks to top problem 4. Already earning the points that she needs to get into the finals.
Oh, good save there by Claire Burfind. Nice quick foot switch. Needs to just place that right foot on top of the volume. She going back with underneath, which is what she did last time where she fell. This is the better way.
Right hand is there, her left foot slipping, but she will get it with time to spare. So Claire Burfind closes out her semifinal round with a top on problem 4, and we will see her in the finals. Now Margot Hayes, the only woman on the wall. She is on women's 4, but one more look at a great effort from Claire Burfind.
Claire got her right foot on the top, and then when she went to switch her foot, she almost lost it, but able to top that boulder with a look of relief and joy as she makes her way into the women's final.
Margot Hayes right now in 4th place overall. She has flashed the last 2 boulders, problems 2 and 3, perfect score of 25 for each of those, and she got to the top on her 2nd attempt on problem 1 for a score of 24.9. But the standings just updated, and now Margot Hayes is in that 6th and final spot.
She's in a really good position here because she actually can't go anywhere, so whatever she does is just moving her up within that 6. Of course, she doesn't know that. And knowing Margot, she is one of the most determined climbers I have ever met, always tries her hardest, so I'm sure we'll see her do that right now on this women's number 4 boulder.
Margot Hayes has basically locked herself into the top 6. The women behind her in the overall standings have all finished.
Margot is a very technical climber. She is able to get herself in the right body positions pretty easily. She's very flexible. She used to be a gymnast, a very good gymnast at that. Has wonderful footwork. Little slip there, but easy to fix.
Here are your top 6. Ashima Shirishi is in 5th place and Margot Hayes is in 6th. These will be your 6 women in the finals, as they're the only 2 women left climbing are Ashima Shirishi and Margot Hayes, so no one can catch them now. It's just all about positioning heading into the finals, and the question remains is Ashima Shirishi, can she remain perfect and top problem 4?
It would be really cool to see her have a perfect semifinal, because she actually did last year. She had a perfect semifinal, so to go 2 years in a row would be amazing. And it's interesting to see that the only thing separating Margot and Ashima currently is a fall.
Let's see it.
Margot Hayes on women's 4.
Getting set up nicely to go for that number 10 move, which is really the first crux of this boulder problem. I think the second one would be getting to that finish hold. Almost able to save it.
Second straight time that she has fallen off the wall going for that 10-point zone.
Just needs to go a little slower. Plenty of time to fix that mistake.
Claire Burfine is on the left and Alex Johnson on the right. Right now 1 and 2 respectively in the overall standings, although that could change depending on what Margot Hayes and Ashima Shirishi do on problem 4.
Either way, I'm sure they're both really excited to be in the final for sure. Margot working her way through women's number 4 again. Just trying to set up to get to this 10. Ooh, really good beta there. She's a little short going to the 10 right now, so she's gonna have to move that left foot. Oh, almost saved it.
Upset with herself, but the good news for her is, again, she is in the finals already. This is all just gravy for her.
Of course, she doesn't know that, so she's gonna give it all she has in order to get there. She may go back to that original way in which she was trying that move to the 10. Since she actually was able to get a hand on it earlier. Looks like she's gonna, oh! Almost saved it.
Couldn't quite save it again, and she takes a look at the clock and she's gonna quickly get back up.
Definitely the Margot Hayes that everyone knows never gives up. That's why she's been so successful in climbing. She always tries her hardest. Doesn't even have enough time, but she's gonna do it anyway. Serious true grit here from Margot Hayes.
Final seconds.
If she gets the 10 right now, that would be amazing.
Almost had it, but Margot Hayes will be in the finals. One climber remains, and it's Ashima Shirishi, who has also locked up a spot inside of the top 6. Trying to stay perfect through the semifinal round. She has flashed the prior 3 problems, getting to the top on her first and only attempt on each. She has 75 out of a possible 75 points so far, trying to earn 25 more. If she were to do that, she would put herself in first place overall heading into tonight's final round.
It's really nice to see Ashima perform so well here so far this weekend. I know the combined invitational did not go according to plan for her. It was definitely a little frustrating as she is not as good at the speed discipline, which ended up really hurting her, though she is phenomenal when it comes to bouldering and sport climbing, as we're seeing her right now just kill it in this bouldering competition.
She only needs 15 points to put herself on top of the overall leaderboard.
Like Margot, Ashima is another athlete who is always very determined and always tries her best to top the boulders and just perform at her best. So though she only needs the 15, she's definitely going for that top.
She'd be the only woman to top all 4 problems.
Really nice coordination movement there from Ashima. When she climbs, she does make it look effortless, which is always really enjoyable to watch as a spectator. And as a climber, everyone's just floored by the way in which she does things. Looks like she's taking the approach that Brooke Rabitou took to go to the 15 instead of the 10. Very nice. Just needs to get that foot up. She's really looking to try to get a flash here.
Top 6 in the overall standings are locked in. The question is, where will Ashima Shirishi wind up? And for the first time in the semifinal round, she has to make a second attempt at a problem.
It's really interesting looking at these results. Ashima and Brooke are both 2 of the smaller competitors that are going to be in the finals, and they're both climbing this specific boulder the same way. A lot of the other women are multiple inches taller than both Ashima and Brooke, so we're seeing a lot of different climbing on these boulders from Ashima and Brooke Rabitou.
And remember that effort from Claire Burfine that we saw a few minutes ago. That's what put her on top of the overall standings at 89.8 points. There goes Ashima Shirishi for her second attempt now on the 4th and final problem.
Looks like she's going to go for a different approach here. Not quite able to get that palm press. plenty of time to figure it out still.
So far in this competition, Ashima Shirishi has faced 8 problems, and she has topped them all.
And with the 5 on this that's not updated in the live scoring currently, she should already have 80 points, which would move her up into 3rd place. So she's in a really nice position, but we know she wants that #1 spot. See if she tries to go up to the 15 first again. Looks like that's what she's gonna do. Really good control there in footwork and tension to get her foot over there to that unscored hold. Gets the 15 with just 2 fingers.
Ashima Shirishi is going to be flirting with the overall lead.
Oh!
And now a slip.
Whoa, looking for the shadow match.
Very
on
unfortunate
zone
slip
15.
there by Ashima. But she knows what to do now, and I think she still has enough time to get back up there. She goes through this bottom section pretty quickly and very smoothly.
Trying to become the first woman to top all 4 problems here in the semifinal round. Less than 30 to go.
Just setting up. She has to know that the clock is ticking, but she can't rush this too much because it is a lot of very delicate movement in order to get back to that 15 like she just did. She has to be perfect and execute. Oh, unfortunately falls a little short there.
Ashima Shirishi finally meets her match in problem 4, but she will be moving on to the finals as one of the top 6 women in the overall standings. We'll have the final field for tonight's winner-take-all finals when we return. The 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championship brought to you by The North Face, inspiring and enabling exploration since 1966. Beautiful Central Oregon, the site of this competition that has now been narrowed down to 6 men and 6 women, and Ashima Shirishi just closed out her semifinal round, not topping a problem for the first time, but she is on top of the overall standings courtesy of a tiebreak with Claire Burfine. Alex Johnson, Margot Hayes, Sienna Koff, and Brooke Rabitou will be your 6 women in tonight's final competition. On the men's side, 5 of the 6 finalists, as Matty Hong has left the building, but it's Drew Ruana just edging out Nathaniel Coleman for the top spot. Zach Galla, Dylan Barks, Matty Hong, and then Sean Bailey. Should be an exciting finals tonight as some big names and a lot of talent will be up on that wall.
Definitely going to be a really exciting finals tonight. We're seeing a lot of finalists that have been in the Bouldering Nationals finals before. A couple new finalists with Sienna Kopp. I know this is her first final. It's also really cool to see some of the veterans from years past back into the mix of it. Margot Hayes has been in the final the last few years, so no surprise here, but always a fight no matter what. It's going to be really exciting to see Alex Johnson out in the finals again. Hasn't done a Bouldering Nationals since 2015, where she placed second, I believe, so has a really good shot, and really awesome to see her back up here.
Qualifying in 2nd place, Claire Burfine.
Claire Burfine, who had a great fight on that 4th and final problem, had the overall lead for a short while, but then Ashima Shirishi knocked her from the top spot.
And in 1st place. And you already know it.
Ashima Shirishi makes it
And Ashima Shirishi continues her impressive run here at the 2019 USA Climbing Bouldering Open National Championship. Top woman in qualifying, now the top woman in the semifinals.
All right, give it up for your finalists, these ladies.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, in the semifinal round. The finals taking place later on this evening. For Megan Martin, I'm Sean Woodland saying so long for Oregon. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.